This summer, we are going to get the adaptation of one of the best harem manga currently running. And that's a big thing for me to say because even though harem is in this channel's name, I personally am not a huge fan of harem-centered stories. There are a few good ones out there, however, because they respect all the characters involved in their stories and have plots with discernible progression. In fact, we're getting 2 such shows in the summer season, but for this video, I want to focus on the story dealing with the Mikadono Sisters. It's a breeze. Specifically, I want to already speculate which girl the main character, you, is going to end up with. And no, I don't mean you as the viewer, I mean you, this guy right here. And as an avid reader of the manga, I am already very confident with my claim. Hi there everyone, Lars here from Camille's Harem, a channel for novice authors by novice authors. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. Now let me quickly address the big reasons why I don't like harem stories, and why the Mikadono Sisters is such a breath of fresh air to me. And I'll lay out the story, the characters, and give you a spoiler-free look into who I believe the winning girl will be. The first glaring issue with any harem story is the mere fact that a good romance between just 2 characters needs a lot of care and time to make it work. That effort increases exponentially for every character you add into the equation. And this is largely why so many harem stories often leave the majority of the characters feeling hollow and flat until they are relevant to the meandering plot or a side plot. The next big issue is tied to the first. The majority of protagonists, usually male, are left intentionally bland, so they will be appealing to a wide variety of gals who will inexplicably fall in love with them, and they become convenient self-insert vessels for the audience. And last, at least for this list, but certainly not the last problem with many a harem story out there, is that the plot usually drags its feet and wanders so it can revel in all the typical harem tropes and drag out the question of who will end up with whom. However, this is where the Mikadono Sisters is such a breath of fresh air, in my opinion. The story expertly balances the developing crushes between you and the 3 sisters, Kazuki, Nico, and Miwa. It also builds on the relationship between the sisters, and we get to see them grow personally and as a family because of their feelings for you and trying to reconcile their rivalry. And the main character, you, is his own person, with a distinct personality, a helplessly accident-prone kid who's a bad student with only a few skills, which he has to constantly work hard to hone, and the trauma of being a forgotten child. Yu is a surprisingly hard and earnest worker who is a people-pleaser because that was the only way he's ever gotten noticed in the past, even by his own mother. It's not a healthy starting point, and it's thanks to his interactions with the Mikadono Sisters that Yu starts becoming a better and more talented person. Now that I've praised the general story and Yu's character, let me properly introduce the sisters. They are all amazing prodigies in their respective fields in high school, and their father is determined that they will become the best Japan has to offer, in order to maintain the family legacy, of course. As a result, this has shattered their family dynamic, and the girls are all pretty snooty and aloof until Yu stumbles into their lives. Kazuki is the oldest and a star actress. Though she only performs male roles, she is tall, lithe, and the most health conscientious among the 3 sisters. She is also the most deliberately cold, and both literally and figuratively looks down on just about everyone else. Nico is the middle girl, the shortest, and the premier martial artist. She's aiming for the top spot among women's national karate rankings. She's also a pretty smart cookie and super competitive. She rules her club with an iron fist, but she hides a very girly side. Miwa is the youngest daughter and a snarky shogi prodigy. She's the most playful of the 3 sisters and has a very unhealthy diet and unfair figure to match. Miwa is also arguably the most emotional of the 3 sisters and the one who is the most manipulative. And just like Nico, she has a secret she's hiding. Nope, no spoilers here for that, because that's one of the big reasons why Miwa will be the girl who wins Yu's heart in the end. Sadly, the mangaka tipped their hands pretty early on, even though Kazuki, my personal favorite of the three sisters, puts up a valiant effort to get Yu to fall in love with her. Now, how and why can I explain that Miwa is most likely the girl to win without giving away any of the spoilers for the story? Well, first off, I really want you guys to check out this anime because the manga is so much fun, and I'm hoping that you will enjoy the anime if you're an anime only, and maybe it'll inspire you to check out the manga. And here's another thing, I can simply make my case by pointing out another important aspect to writing any good romance: the fact that you need mile markers. Every great relationship is a journey, and the best way to know how far you've come together is by looking back to where you were and comparing where you are now to who and what you were way back when. The same goes with these fictional romances. Our starting point with accident-prone Yu getting tossed into the same household as the Mikadono sisters who look down on him, and of course, they'll all be developing feelings for him as the story progresses. But where do we go from here? As the anime progresses, keep an eye out for where each sister ends up with Yu and compare that to where they were at the beginning. You'll be able to judge that Miwa pulls ahead of her sisters because of a few things. Not just for her feelings for Yu, but how she grows as a person, how other relationships that she has develops as a result, and the idea of family for her. Sadly, Nico and Kazuki just don't quite hit the same progress, and that's what tips the mangaka's hand. This is something that all writers and shippers should keep in mind. The relationship that visibly produces the most positive changes for the characters involved is usually the one that is the most rewarding. And the more rewarding the romance is, the more we want that route and we want to stick to it. A hastily slapped together relationship with only a few positives makes it easier to dismiss and tear that relationship apart. However, in the case of a love triangle, a love square, a harem, whatever, when one pairing very clearly shows off more benefits than any of the others, you lose the drama of the will they, won't they dynamic, and you create an unspoken expectation for who is going to get together. And if you go with a comparably weaker pairing, you risk angering your audience. Remember how I said that writing a good romance takes a lot of care and time to make it work? Well, this is just one example of that. If you're too heavy-handed or too vague, and you set yourself up then for failure. Relationships need to make sense, have progress, and should be healthily positive to keep the audience around and justify the pairing. Yeah, it's a lot of work to make a good romance work out, and that is why I can recommend the Mikadono Sisters, and I'm looking forward to doing some reviews and analyses of the anime as it premieres. Until then, if you're looking for more writing advice, insights, reviews, analyses, and theories, then please subscribe and check out our other videos. And if you'd like to really support the work that I do here on YouTube, please check out the books I've published. You'll find links for all of them in the description below. And until the next video, y'all, tschüss.